Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about don't be afraid to fail big. Don't be afraid to dream big. Listen closely. Failure and fear, they're not your enemies. They're your teachers, your sharpeners, your stepping stones. Most people run from failure, terrified of what it might say about them. They tiptoe around life. They're scared to wake up the greatness inside themselves. They stay in their comfort zones where it's safe, where there are no risks. But let me tell you something, greatness never lived in the comfort zone. Think about it, what dream is burning in your heart right now? I mean the kind of dream that keeps you up at night. The one you're too afraid to say out loud because people might laugh at you. You know the one I'm talking about. The one you keep burying because you don't want to face the fear of failure. But let me tell you this, the bigger the dream, the bigger the risk. And the bigger the risk, the bigger the failure might be. But here's the truth, no one tells you failure isn't the end, it's the beginning. You don't believe me? Look around at anyone who's made it. Anyone who has reached the heights you admire. You'll find a person who's failed over and over again. I'm talking about falling flat on their face, losing it all and still getting up. Because the secret isn't avoiding failure. The secret is using failure to rise higher than you ever thought possible. You see, failure is where the magic happens. It's where you learn what you're made of. It's where the muscles of resilience are built. You can't grow without resistance. You can't succeed without falling a few times. And you definitely can't dream big if you're afraid of the pain that comes with the climb. But I get it. It's scary. Standing on the edge of the unknown, staring down the possibility of losing it all. You'll hear voices your own, and maybe the voices of others. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm just wasting my time? Let me tell you something, those voices are liars. You are good enough. You are capable. You are worthy of the dream that's been placed in your heart. Do you think that dream is there by accident? Do you think it's some random thought that popped into your head? No, that dream was given to you. It was placed inside you for a reason. It's yours to pursue. It's yours to nurture. And it's yours to fight for. But here's the catch, you can't get there by playing it safe. You can't climb a mountain if you're afraid to leave the ground. You can't win the game if you're too scared to take the shot. You've got to go big. You've got to risk it all. You've got to be willing to fail big. Because the truth is, the most successful people in the world are the ones who failed the most. Thomas Edison, he failed 1,000 times before he figured out the light bulb. Michael Jordan, he missed more shots than most players even attempted. Oprah Winfrey, she was fired from her first television job because they said she wasn't fit for TV. And yet here we are benefiting from their courage to fail big. They didn't let failure define them. They let it refine them. So I'm telling you, don't play small. Don't settle for a life that doesn't set your soul on fire. Don't let fear rob you of the life you were meant to live. And don't let failure stop you from chasing the dream that's been calling your name. But let me warn you, the road won't be easy. It'll be messy. There will be tears. There will be days when you want to quit. Days when the weight of it all feels too much to bear. You'll question yourself. You'll doubt the journey. But in those moments, remember this failure is temporary. Growth is permanent. Pain is temporary. Glory is forever. You've got to believe that you're stronger than you think. You've got to have faith that what's ahead is worth every stumble, every scar, every late night, every early morning. And when you fall, and you will fall forward. Learn from it. Get back up and keep going. Because here's the truth, success isn't just about achieving the dream. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the character you build, the strength you gain, the wisdom you earn. And none of that comes without failure. So let me ask you again, what are you afraid of? Failing? Falling? Being embarrassed? Let me tell you what you should be afraid of. You should be afraid of looking back at your life and realizing you didn't even try. You should be afraid of living a life so small, so safe, so mediocre that you never discover who you could have been. Because the truth is, you only get one life, one shot, one chance to make it count. And the clock is ticking. Every second that goes by is a second you'll never get back. So why waste it being afraid? Why waste it hiding from the dream that's been calling you? You were made for more. You were made to shine. You were made to stand tall and take risks and fail and grow and win. But it all starts with a decision to stop playing small and start living big. So I dare you to dream big. I dare you to take the risk. I dare you to fail and fail big. Because when you do, you'll find that failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of something extraordinary. The world is waiting for you. The question is, are you ready to rise? Now go, dream big, fail big, and rise even bigger. Too many people live their lives like they're walking on eggshells. Careful, timid. Playing small. They avoid risks. They avoid failure. They avoid the pain of falling short because they're terrified of what it might mean about them. But let me ask you this, what's the cost of not trying? What's the cost of living your whole life in a cage made of fear and self-doubt? Let me tell you something, you weren't created to live small. You weren't put on this earth to settle for mediocre. You weren't born to blend in, to tiptoe, to shrink. No, you were born to rise, to shine, to be bold, to dream big, and to fail big. That's right. I said fail big. Because the truth is, every great achievement in human history has been built on the back of failure. Every innovator, every leader, every trailblazer, every world changer, every single one of them failed. And not just once, not just twice. They failed over and over and over again. But here's the difference. They didn't let failure stop them. They didn't let failure define them. They didn't quit just because things didn't go their way the first time or the 50th time. Do you know what they did? They got back up. They wiped the dust off their shoulders. They learned from their mistakes. And they kept going. Because they knew something that most people don't. Failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the path to success. Failure is the soil where seeds of greatness are planted. Without failure, there's no growth. Without failure, there's no resilience. Without failure, there's no breakthrough. But let's be honest, it's scary, isn't it? The idea of failing big, of falling flat on your face in front of everyone, of taking a risk and losing it all. I get it. It's scary to step out of your comfort zone. It's scary to chase a dream when there's no guarantee of success. It's scary to invest everything you've got into something that might not work out. But let me ask you this, what's scarier? Taking the risk and failing? Or playing it safe and living a life that's small, unfulfilled, and full of regret? You see, the real tragedy isn't failing. The real tragedy is never trying. The real tragedy is looking back at your life and realizing you played it so safe, so small, so carefully, that you never got to experience the fullness of what life had to offer. You're going to fail. Let me say that again, you're going to fail. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall. You're going to have moments when you feel like giving up. Moments when you wonder if you've got what it takes. Moments when the voices of doubt inside your head are louder than the voice of hope. But those moments, those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments when you get to decide who you're going to be. Are you going to let failure break you? Or are you going to let it build you? Are you going to let it stop you? Or are you going to let it fuel you? Let me tell you something, failure is temporary. Pain is temporary. Embarrassment is temporary. But growth is permanent. Strength is permanent. The lessons you learn, the resilience you build, the courage you gain, those are permanent. And those are the things that will carry you to the top. So I'm here to tell you, dream big. I'm not talking about the kind of dream that's safe or easy or convenient. I'm talking about the kind of dream that scares you. The kind of dream that keeps you awake at night. The kind of dream that feels so far out of reach you're not even sure it's possible. You know the dream I'm talking about. It's the one that's been sitting in the back of your mind, tugging at your heart, whispering, what if? But dreaming big isn't enough. You've got to act. You've got to take the first step even when the path isn't clear. You've got to move forward even when fear is breathing down your neck. You've got to show up every single day, ready to give it your all even when the odds are stacked against you. And when failure comes, and trust me, it will come, you've got to embrace it. You've got to look failure in the face and say, thank you for the lesson. Now watch me rise. Because here's the truth, the people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail big and keep going. They're the ones who stumble but don't stop. They're the ones who fall but get back up. They're the ones who turn every setback into a comeback. And that can be you. You have everything you need inside you to chase your dream, to overcome your fears, to rise above your failures, and to achieve greatness. But you've got to be willing to take the risk. You've got to be willing to fail big. Because at the end of the day, life isn't about avoiding failure. Life is about chasing the things that set your soul on fire. It's about taking a leap, even when you're scared. It's about living fully, boldly, unapologetically. So don't settle. Don't play small. Don't let fear hold you back. You've got one life to live. Make it count. Dream big, fail big. And when you do, get back up and dream even bigger. Because the world is waiting for you. Your destiny is waiting for you. And the only thing standing in your way is fear. So let it go. Let it go and rise.